We're going to be doing a very special holiday treat. We're going to bring up our special guest, Dinesh.
Yeah, Dinesh.
Welcome back.
Thank you, Dinesh.
You may recognize Dinesh from one of our previous classes. She loves to cook and she loves to share her recipes with us.
And so Dinesh, when she wanted to come back, I said, okay, well, send me a recipe and we'll include it in the class. And so she sent me this classic recipe. Was it from your grandmother?
Yeah.
Recipe from grandmother, and I've seen them before in awe. I've never attempted to make one, and when I opened up my email, I was just sweating because I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna fit this in the time we have. But you know what? It's actually as amazing as it looks. It's much simpler than you think it might be. So
what is it?
it's how do you say it in
It's
Quebecois?
Buche de Noel.
Buche de Noel. But it is, I've seen this throughout many cultures where they do a Christmas Yule log is what it is. So we're going to start off with the cake batter. We'll get right on it. We have a kitchen mixer. You can do this by hand. Just be prepared to get your workout on. And
you want to build those
crack
arm
some eggs
muscles.
in there too. So we're doing 6 eggs. It's a lot of eggs. But
So you can see I'm packing in some protein there. There was a but.
it's
That's
yeah,
right.
it is. You'll see the size of it after. I mean, it's
It's a lot of protein.
it's a lot of protein.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be, eating half of the Yule log to meet your protein needs.
Yeah.
So that's a good point. But for a dessert, it's always good if you can get a little bit of protein in there.
Perfect. So we're gonna whip this up. What you want to do is slowly bring it up to a high whisk. And it'll take a couple minutes, but you're looking for it to almost triple in volume. So probably let it go a little bit longer, but you can already see how it's starting to froth up there. So we're gonna take, which way do I go? That way.
There you go.
I'm gonna take this off. We're gonna sweeten this with a little maple syrup because we love maple syrup.
Yeah.
Get some minerals, amazing flavor, and lower on the glycemic
Yes,
index
you
that
got
compared
it.
to many sweeteners that are available.
And we're gonna use about half a cup of dark cocoa powder. And the reason I am sifting this through is because it'll combine a lot better, and it'll allow the. So when we froth up the eggs, you're gonna get a lot of air bubbles in there. We want that air bubbles. We want that lift. You need this to be as kind of fine as possible so it doesn't ruin those air bubbles.
So if you kind of dumped all the cocoa powder in, then the bubbles would
Yeah, well, because
be compressed or pop.
you're creating little pockets of flour and powder that'll it just won't work that well with the air bubbles in the egg. And this is just a little bit of chestnut flour that goes in there. You can use any flour will work.
What's the difference? What do you need? Why do you need the bubbles in there?
So we need the bubbles in there because it's primarily a flourless cake batter. So we need those bubbles to give it a really nice kind of fluffy rise and a nice little fluffy cake. So that's why we're going to force as much air into there as possible. So I'm folding it in, and you don't want to continue to whisk with the one we just had there. Again, you don't want to break that air that we just forced into the batter. So just use a spatula or even a wooden spoon and just gently kind of fold that in. Dinesh, you want to finish that off?
Make sure there's an even chocolate distribution so nobody complains they didn't get a chocolatey piece.
I won't complain.
Yeah. And I'm going to try to show you here. So for that amount of batter, for this recipe, you're looking for a pan about this big. Not with the holes in it, it'll fall right through. But you're looking for a pan about this big. Yeah, that won't make a mess. Line it with parchment paper. Parchment paper is key here. And pour that batter just right over top.
Not on that one.
Not on this one. Not on this one. Over top the parchment, and you just kind of use that spatula. You can kind of just create an even kind of layer and spread it out. If it's not even like if you have kind of an edge here, it doesn't really matter at that point. So just get it on there.
It looks homemade. It's uneven.
Sorry?
It looks homemade, it's uneven, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Exactly. And that's perfect. So that's what you're
Looks
looking
good.
for. You want to try to get it combined as well as possible, and pour that right away. We're going to stick it in the chiller. And then when you bake it, oh, I'm crushing something in there. When you bake it, I have to roll this right away because you want to do it when it's warm. I'll show you what it looks like. So when you take it out, about 12 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
12 to 15 minutes. Just what's the telltale sign that it's done?
It'll be all fluffy, and you could put it like a cake, like put a toothpick in it, or.
That's a good,
whatever.
yeah, that's a good
good
test.
idea,
Or
yeah.
even if it springs back. If you push it and it springs back, then it's done. And so as soon as it comes out of the oven, if any's stuck to the side, just kind of get a knife, separate it from the side, take the parchment out, and flip it onto another piece of parchment and roll it up right away. That way, when it cools, it has cake memory. I was going to say muscle memory. It's not muscle, it has cake memory, so it remembers exactly the way it's rolled. And you're going to let it cool for about 20 minutes, 30 minutes, just until it's cooled down. And then we can unravel it.
It's like a chocolate fruit roll-up.
Yeah.
Me and my grandma, we use cloth instead of paper.
Yes, you can do that as well. A damp cloth
Yeah.
will work as well. That's actually a great idea. This is moist, pretty moist, but the damp cloth will keep it moist and it'll prevent it from cracking. If you do get some cracks here and there, it's not a big deal. You can piece it back together. But you have this really nice kind of spongy cake.
Well, you could fix it because you ice it after.
Exactly.
anyways.
Use the ice like a glue.
Yeah.
And so we have our filling here, so a little bit of whipped cream, which is just classic, just whipped cream.
Yeah.
So you can use just whipped cream. I thought we could add a few toppings as well. So we have some roasted chestnuts and some cranberries. So actually, start putting some of it on. And then Dinesh, if you want to
Where did you buy your roasted chestnut? Did you
spread that
roast them or
across.
you got them?
So some I roasted, but some I purchased as well. And you can get these in a pinch. They're the just roasted chestnuts. That's all that's in there. Chestnuts already roasted and peeled, and they're
Buy that at the
supermarket.
supermarket?
Almost every supermarket, especially now, will have them, and they're about $1.50. They're about $1.50 for like 15 chestnuts in there, which is perfect for something like this.
Chestnuts are another great snack too. I like to roast up a whole bunch of them because they tend to be, they're actually the lowest in calories of any of the nuts because they don't contain as much fat. And you'll notice they have a bit of a different texture, like there's a higher water content in them, but also packed with fiber, so you feel more satisfied when you enjoy to use those. Yeah. And some protein to go along with that.
So, sprinkle whatever filling you like in there. You can do any dried fruit.
What do you put inside
Hazelnuts.
usually? Do you put any filling?
I
Or any-
usually put chocolate chips
Chocolate chips.
or like something sweet.
That would be
You
fantastic.
could put like grated coconut if you're
Yeah.
using the coconut to really bring out that flavor. It'd be delicious.
Yeah.
And there you go. So you just roll it
You
up.
could put in whatever you like.
We're going to put it on a tray here. And Dinesh is going to finish decorating it. So you can use, again, to decorate the outside, you can use melted chocolate. What
Yeah.
we did was
Is that in your way?
we
Put
combined
chocolate
some
on it.
chestnut puree, which again you can find in the grocery store. The unsweetened, just chestnut puree, and I blended it with some maple syrup and a little bit of cocoa powder. And Dinesh, if you just want to like spoon that on, and I'll give you some. You can do some cranberries. You want to do your best job of making it look like a piece of wood in the middle of the forest.
You bring that to a party, people remember this
Yeah.
forever.
And so the top is the same. It's a chestnut puree, so you can use a piping bag and you can pipe it across, or just make it look like a piece of wood, and that's pretty much it. I have some rosemary on the side. Very, very simple.
It doesn't have to be a piece of wood, it's a cake.
It's a cake. It doesn't have to be wood.